right, welcome to the Habitat demos for Friday, March 31st. We've got a light day today for you guys. We got a number of people out, but we have a really good high-profile feature that just hit the master branch that Ryan cooked up. And why don't you take it away, Ryan?
Sure. So let me share my screen real quick.
Tell me about what it is first.
Yeah, so what we're basically building out is called scaffolding, and the idea behind this is that you don't need to be, a build engineer or somebody who really knows how to build, Golang projects or Python, projects or any complex projects at all. You should be able to just say, use the scaffolding for this, and it just works, right? And all your dependencies will be in place and things just work. So this is a simple Go project called AWS, which is essentially a command line Go application like AWS CLI written in Go. And we have a very simple plan that I've wrote in here, and it's literally just these lines that you need. And the key thing, there's a few key things you'll notice right away is one, there's project scaffolding or package scaffolding that you need to define. And this is essentially a core package that defines all the plans, basic default behaviors, and adds some hooks and variables that you can use. The other thing you'll probably notice is that things like package SHA-SUM is not here because in the Go world, you're usually doing a go get to pull the source that you're trying to get down. So there's kind of no real need to do a checksum on a tarball since there isn't one. So those are some key things you'll notice right away. And then of course there's no callbacks required in this. It's a very simple Go application. There's your standard main.go file that starts off the dependency chain. I will note that while I do have the actual code on disk here, we don't currently have the local copy of the stuff where you can just say the path to pull it in from there. That'll be later on in the scaffolding project, but right now it's actually just using go-get behind the covers. But you can run a build real quick. And this is using the 1.8 scaffolding. It'll go ahead and start the load the scaffolding into place, and then runs go-get. Does a clean cache from running go clean essentially, and then actually builds it and generates the actual binary. And in a moment, we should have a heart package here. So now we can do hab package exec core AWS, and you can see that it's actually functional. Now you'll probably think about this and say, well, not all Go projects work that way. My Go project is a complex project that uses a makefile and is makefile driven. Well, that works too. An example of that is Terraform. So similar, but it can leverage the scaffolding, but there are some things in this particular use case that's kind of outside the realm, and I'll show you real quick. Oops, apparently I have it open somewhere else. There's a couple things I had to do because there's a test, for example, in Terraform that does a checks for root permissions. Since we're building with root permissions, I had to disable that test. And then there's also some things that they have shell interpreters in their scripts that they are using, so we had to do some patch elf on it. But other than that, we are calling the hooks that we extend with the scaffolding to actually run the build. And for the most part, I actually could probably comment this out, but since we're in the demo, I don't want to change too much here. And then also the other thing to note is that you can still have dependencies just like you would any other plan, and it won't stomp on anything or have any issues, so it will be inclusive. Oops. So I'm trying to decide if I should run a build. This takes like 3.5 to 4 minutes, so I'll just show you that it works. I'll just do have package exec core Terraform we do have a working Terraform package there. So if you want to take a look at some of the actual code for this, you can see some pull requests that are coming up that are tagged with this, that are related to scaffolding. There's also in the core packages, you'll see scaffolding prefixed packages, which actually, let's just do this. So this is actually a scaffolding 1.8, and I think probably worth noting the structure. Oh, go 1.8, yeah. So there, just like I said, it's basically an extension of the plan. So this defines all the dependencies for this for Go, pulls in the appropriate things that you need to be able to build your Go stuff. And then the real meat of it is in this lib directory, which has the scaffolding predefined methods and helpers and so forth, and all the callbacks and so forth. So basically that's can work for any language, just a matter of making a scaffolding.sh and pulling it in. That's about it.
Yeah, so you can author them yourself, right?
Yep, exactly. And if you have patterns in your organization, maybe you do something that you're finding you're doing over and over in a plan, right? You can basically have that added into that plan, you know, and make it so that you can reuse that pattern more easily. So it's got a lot of power and potential to it.
Yeah. Do you have what the AWS list plan would look like without the scaffolding by any chance?
You know, that's a great question. I don't, but it would be pretty messy.
Yes, it would.
I mean, you could look at some of the other stuff that we haven't moved over, for example, in core plans. So I think Mongo tools is an example of a Go plan. There's some stuff. There's more to it. This one's fairly simple, but it does a lot of things in terms of getting the path set and so forth for Go path. Actually, it's running another script, it looks like, in this one. So I guess that one has yeah, they're pulling something in out of Mongo tools directly. But there's a few others that are pretty verbose where they're trying to set paths and copy things around.
Yeah. Well, no worries. Just was seeing if you had it. That is amazing work, Ryan. This is the first in a number of improvements that we're making to the build system right now. We're trying our best to make it super easy to get out of the build process and into the runtime. Like Ryan said, we don't want you to need to be a build engineer to know how this works. The abstractions are going to be something that we provide initially, but we're also giving you a framework to build your own. They're completely composable. You can think of like cascading style sheets. So like Ryan had this great idea that we would make a Python one, and then on top of the Python one, you could make like, what was it, like a G unicorn or and in the pretty near future, you're going to see a number of these coming out. We're redoing our tutorials to be revolved around these as well, to make it even easier to get involved and teach people how Habitat works. And we've also got another core maintainer, George Marshall, who's working on a really awesome feature which allows you to set environment variables from a plan and promote them upwards throughout the rest of the build process as well. And I think that's going to dovetail really nicely into the scaffolding feature. So I think that's all we get to show. Liz, did you have anything? All right.
I will note we did repackage the Go stuff, so those will be landing probably here soon. So if you're using the old Go plans and stuff and Go packages, they're now Go 17 and Go 18. So just something to pay attention to, because the old one's not going to get any updates in the future.
Perfect. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
See ya.